I'm going to present about public financing in water services by using groundwater tax revenue in this case of Jakarta. The concept that we are offering is related with something that happened, surprisingly happened last year when the governor of Jakarta stated that the government is taking over the water services, which have been privatized since 1998. So it hasn't been completed yet. There's still ongoing debates about how to undertake the takeover. But we nevertheless have to prepare the situations of that, including the investment fund that will be needed by the water utility. So this is the concept that we are offering to anticipate the situation after the privatization is ended, compared to the previous financing system by using or seeking loans from international financial institutions that made the water tariff significantly high. Groundwater tax revenue should be considered as alternative for financing the water services because it can solve two problems at the same time. The first problem is the lack of investment for water services, and also that makes the lack of good performance of water services. And the second one is to reduce groundwater exploitation. The second problem is quite serious in Jakarta. There are more than 500 million cubic meter of groundwater is exploited each year, which is twice as much as its safe limit, and it is believed to be the major cause of severe environmental damages like land subsidence and saltwater intrusion. The picture that you can see is a subsiding road, but it became major media coverage and also debate over land subsidence in Jakarta in 2010. So the government has been trying to reduce groundwater exploitation, but the efforts have never been successful mainly because groundwater users don't have other option. The only option for water supply is pipeline services, but it is considered unreliable both in quality and in quantity. A little more about land subsidence in Jakarta. Picture number 1 and number 2 are typical house in a subsidence area where they keep getting lower compared to the land surface, and people have to bend over to get into their houses. And picture number 3 is the most popular example of proof of land subsidence in Jakarta. It's a fort built from colonial period, which, as you can see, it keeps reclining and keeps getting worse each year. So there is this urgency for the government to reduce groundwater exploitation by encouraging groundwater users to switch to water services. Pipe water services. As what I've mentioned before, the water services is unreliable. These are some of the indicators. The first one is surface coverage ratio. Is the ratio of water surfaces compared to the population. According to Jakarta Water Regulatory Body, the surface coverage ratio of Jakarta water services is only 42.92%. And the data shows from Drinking Water Utility Association says that Palija, one of the private water operators, can only work on the surface coverage ratio at 63% and Aitra 65%. It all generally means that only half of the population of Jakarta have access to piped water. But regardless, even though those who are already connected to piped water, they keep complaining because they only find most of the time the tap is empty because the water only runs a couple hours in a day or even once in 3 days. And also the water quality is also questionable. The data from UNICEF statistics shows that only 24.18% of population use piped water as drinking water. Most of them use bottled water instead. Regardless having a very poor performance, the water tariff in Jakarta is significantly higher compared to other big cities in Indonesia. As you can see from the table, Jakarta water tariff is set at 7,000 rupiah per cubic meter compared to other big cities, which only range from 2,000 rupiah to 3,000 rupiah. So, like 3 times more expensive than that of other big cities. Now, to estimate the needed investment for water services in Jakarta, we use the water demand approach. in 2017. 2007 is chosen because that's the end of the. Okay, I'm getting nervous. That's the end of the current governorship. So it is relatively. The current governor have relatively enough time to improve water services. In 2017, the population in Jakarta is estimated at 11 million populations, with the assumption that each person needs 175 liters per day. The total domestic water needs estimated in 2017 is 700 million cubic meter. Industrial water needs is 30% of them, will make it 200 million cubic meter. And the commuter needs 126 million cubic meter per year, making the annual water needs in 2017 as much as 1 billion cubic meter. That was from the demand side. From the supply side, assuming that there is no significant improvement in water services, we have pipe water services that provide around 369 million cubic meter per year, and groundwater in safe limit is only 256 million cubic meter. The total clean water supply will be 652 million cubic meters. So if we compare it to the water demand, we get the water deficit is as much as 390 or almost 400 million cubic meter per year. So when we're talking about the needed investment, it's not only to cover the current coverage, but also how to cover this water deficit in order to avoid people using more groundwater. In our estimation, until 2017, the effort to provide clean water supply would need at least 7 trillion rupiah or 700 million US dollar. It will be used for improving the bulk and treated water supply and also increase water production by building at least 5 more water treatment plants and also to reduce the leakage, which is currently at a level of 35%. The next question is indeed how much revenue the government earned from groundwater tax revenue. In Indonesia, groundwater tax is only applied to industrial and also commercial use, but not to domestic use. So these figures only represent this kind of groundwater use, not the actual total groundwater exploitation. In 2011, the groundwater exploitation is recorded at 7 million cubic meter, with revenue 121 billion rupiah or 12.2 million US dollar. As you can see, there is a significant decline from 2009 to 2010. It is exactly the result of government's effort to reduce groundwater use by significantly improve groundwater tax rate until 4 to 5 times. But considering that at the same time there was no significant improvement in water services, so it's safe to assume that what is actually happening is the increase of illegal groundwater use. And the illegal groundwater use is relatively large. In our estimation, the industrial groundwater use, which is taxable again, there is 186 million cubic meter, and covered by piped water services, 87 million. So the unrecorded groundwater use can be as much as 92 million cubic meter. It is far higher compared to the recorded one, which is only 7.2 million cubic meter. And it means that the potential revenue from groundwater tax could be much higher either. This is according to our our interview with government agents responsible for groundwater control. If the unrecorded use is big and medium industry, the potential tax revenue will be at least 140 million US dollar. If the unrecorded use is medium and small industry, it will be 70 million US dollar. Those numbers are also far higher than the current revenue obtained by the government, which is only 12.1 million US dollar. In our estimation, it is assumed that groundwater tax revenue will be used first for improving groundwater management, like research, control, and also mitigating the environmental impacts, like what I've mentioned before, and that will need 50% of the revenue. The other 50% will be used for investing in water services. In first scenario, if the revenue is assumed at 12.1 million in 5 years, 17 million US dollar, in 5 years, it will be accumulated at $200 million or 30% of the needed investment. And the second scenario, if it's 114 million in 5 years, it will be $380 million or 55% of the needed investment for water services. Regarding the implementation, there is a problem that is constantly faced by groundwater management, namely centralized budget. It means that all revenue from all other sectors are collected together, that there is no guarantee that the revenue from groundwater, in this case, could be used for investment in water services. But there is a precedent in Sukabumi municipality that issued a government regulation requiring 20% revenue from groundwater tax to be used for groundwater management. So Jakarta can adopt this government regulation first in order to be able to transfer groundwater tax revenue to investment in water services. Institutions that will be involved is PPLHD, Regional Environmental Agency, which is responsible for groundwater management, and Pamjaya itself, the drinking water company. The method that will be used is government capital assistance. It is a method where the government provides financial support for a state-owned company, which is Pamjaya is qualified for that. It is a common practice, and Jakarta has been practicing this to support public services in Jakarta. Thank you. That's all.